Welcome everybody to Eye of the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card reading. So today I'm delighted to be collaborating again with the wonderful Griselle from Psychicmd. I have collaborated with her before, as I just said. She is a wonderful reader. I really enjoy collaborating with her. So if you want to sort of check out that, if you didn't see it, that I have actually a playlist of collaborations, so you can find that there. I would not only highly recommend, obviously, that you see her readings in this collaboration, because obviously there's two sides to the coin that we're looking at and the topic, but more generally, stop and check out her channel. She is a wonderful reader, very insightful, a lovely person. And I feel like with Griselle, she's one of those undiscovered gems on YouTube, because for whatever reason, the YouTube algorithm is weird, and it doesn't necessarily, there's no real equation between quality and growth from what I can tell. And that's generally not just in the tarot space. She is a very, very accomplished, very, very good reader. And I'm sure you will enjoy her work if you haven't seen it before. So definitely check out her side of this and her channel more generally. I just love to see, as I say, the channels that maybe the algorithm hasn't been a blessing to get seen by more people, so that more people can enjoy their work. And so definitely check out Griselle's channel more generally. I would highly, highly recommend. So what are we looking at today? We're looking at two sides of you that either you don't see in yourself, and that's what Griselle's readings will be about. What don't you recognize about yourself? And once you realize it, what can you do with that? And I'm looking at what do others not recognize in you. And when I sort of contemplated how to look at that, I'm looking at it from a couple of perspectives. One will be things that others don't recognize about you or know about you that you would want them to know, that you would like to be recognized for, and so forth. And the other side is maybe things that you don't want people to know. And this doesn't necessarily mean you've got some terrible secret to hide. It's more sometimes things are very private and you would only want very close people to you to be aware of it, or you could have some new creation or idea or approach that you're not ready to launch into the world. So there are times when there are things that we actually consciously keep a bit hidden from others. It could also be that you're in an environment where showing certain aspects of your personality would not be helpful, but it's not that you are in any sense upset about those aspects of you. It's just that you recognize who you can and can't share that with. So I'm going to look at both of those and a kind of overarching energy. And what I felt drawn to use was a deck I have called The Shadow of the Middle Ages. You can see 3 cards from that. It's actually a really expanded Lenormand, I guess, in a way. It's a mega oracle, wonderful, wonderful deck. And I just felt drawn to it because I wanted to sort of just get a kind of symbolic energy for both those sides of you that people don't know about, and also with this first card, a kind of overarching energy that you have, which for whether you would want people to know or not, or whether it's about the circumstances, something very core to you that people don't realize. So that's this first energy, and there's 2 other cards from the deck under there. I don't know what they are at this point. One will be talking about what you would want people to know more about you, one that you might want to keep more private. And from there, we're going to look at it between those 2 realms in particular. And I'm going to use a pairing of tarot called the Light Weave and the Dark Weave of the Manifest Tarot. For the light weave, for what you want to be seen; for the dark weave, what you want to be more private, and so forth. So we're just going to be sort of like toggling between those things as we go through the reading. So beyond that, I think we just do the pile choice here. As I say, this is an overarching energy. So what I would say to you, obviously if you always go to pile 3, go to pile 3, but if you don't have that, then feel into the energy that you get from these cards as to something that you feel about yourself that's very core to you, that others you don't think really know about you for whatever reason. And that will guide you to the right reading, I would say. And of course, if you want to go to more than one, by all means, go to more than one. So for pile number 1, we got monk. For pile number 2, we got eagles. And for pile number 3, we got tiger. So, pause if you need to, work out what reading or readings you want to go to. When you know, the timestamps are in the description box below, as, by the way, is the link to Griselle's reading in this collab. But once you know your reading or readings, I'll see you there. Welcome, pile one, to your reading. So you came to the reading with, I think, the very intriguing monk as an overarching energy. And it makes a lot of sense when I look at these two others, because this is what you would like people to see more of that they don't really know about you. And this is what you would like to maybe either, I think it's kind of keep a bit more private, or maybe just, in this one, I think it's turn the volume down. I actually think it's something that you think people do see you as, that you'd like them to focus a little less on that and a little bit more on that. This is what this feels like to me. And this is because this is who you are, but it's not all that you are. So let me just tell you very quickly the overarching feeling about this, and then we'll talk a little bit more about each. The monk is all about what you would think with a monk. You know, it's very spiritual, very introspective, very spiritually oriented, very, very much into solitude, contemplation, taking time, patience, all of those sort of things. So I would think for this group, your spiritual practice is very, very important to you, maybe more important than people know. I think it's an overarching thing that covers everything in your life, but people maybe don't realize that. So I think you may want them to know it a bit, but not a lot really. You're kind of comfortable with the fact that they don't really know that. I think it's quite private to you, because what people do see, I think that comes off this, that you want to dial down a bit. So it's not really what they don't see so much. It's what you'd like them to see a little less of. With pyramids, this is all about stability, hard work, taking time, dedication. I think, because when we have the woman here, this in this card is the youthful version of the woman. And you don't have to be a woman. This is about carefree energy, fun, all that kind of thing. I think you might be seen as very focused on your career, very focused on work. You might be seen as a bit of a workaholic. You might even be seen as someone who's very much about the material, when in fact you're not. There's a misunderstanding there. The dedication you have to building things and safety and security has to do with your spiritual beliefs. People don't get that, so they may see you as a bit of a workaholic, somebody who is very focused on the material, and you'd like them to focus a little less on that, but you're not really that worried, to be honest, about whether they know the spiritual underpinning. That's very private to you. It's what guides you. And if people don't realize that you're making decisions from a sort of ethical and spiritual place, it's not really their business. You don't really care. You'll still be doing that. But even a monk wants to have fun sometimes. I think that there is a side of you that is carefree and fun and wants to have, play and be youthful and not be the sort of wise counsel, the stability, the person who's making sure that everything's sort of secure for everybody, that the guiding sort of light, even if they don't know where that light is coming from. You would really like people to see your fun side a bit more. So I think there's a kind of an energy around this reading of, you're not going to lose that spiritual focus, but there is a sense of, let's focus a little bit less on the material every day and the stability and the being the wise counsel, which, as I say, is coming from the spiritual thing that I don't think you're sharing with many people. Let's focus a little bit more on fun, because you actually have fun. And it's interesting, it reminds me of a story that I heard. Somebody said that after Buddha achieved enlightenment, he didn't sit under a tree for the rest of eternity. He actually started playing with a cat. And I just really love that idea. It's sort of like there is lightness as well, like enlightenment should be light. Light is within the word. It should be freeing. It should be liberating. And we should be enjoying things as much as being true to our spirituality, being responsible. So I think there's a very clear message here actually for this group. I think that you're kind of the leaders, or the kind of breadwinners, or the mature ones. Like I think maybe you've had to be the mature one. Like maybe it was sort of some of this happens, some people when they grow up, they become the adult in the house even when they're a child. I think you've come in with a lot of that. You've come in with a lot of spiritual knowledge and understanding and wisdom and soul age basically. And that's fine. That's fine. But it's not that you want to hide away that you can do that, but you just want to tilt towards people seeing that you can have fun as well. That doesn't mean that you're old and tired and not interested in that. So I feel like that's there. For some of you too, there could be something that you want to express your feminine side more, or people to see your feminine side more. So there could be a sense, like in your workplace or in general sort of things. And this doesn't matter what gender you are. We both have a male and feminine side. That it's very much around the ambition again and all that kind of thing. You'd like to actually express the sort of creativity and the nurturing and all of that side of things as well. So I feel it's almost like, that almost makes me think of Yoda. So it's sort of like, instead of being the teacher as Yoda, it's the kind of guide that uses sort of elliptical sort of things that are fun and make people come up with their own ideas, the sort of coach energy really more than anything else, rather than just being the sort of the wise person that people come to. So I feel that's what we're looking at. So what we're going to do with the tarot is that we're going to have a look, 3 cards with each, depending upon the thing. So I'm going to use the light weave for both what you would like to see more of and who you are overall, because the underpinning thing of this is bringing up to the surface who you are truly, to whatever degree you want. And then we'll use the dark weave tarot around what you would like less of, I would say, or to be a bit more hidden. We're going to get 3 cards for each of them. And then we're going to see what impact is this having on how you're viewed with the light weave, and what impact does it have within yourself, and what you may not see as a result of this with the dark weave. So that's how we're going to use tarot at this point. So firstly, with the light weave tarot, we're just going to get 3 cards for each. So we'll start with the monk, because that's the entry point. This is you as a spiritual person. So a little bit more about what in that aspect is not seen about you. 8 of Pentacles, the Hanged Man, and the 5 of, let me just work this out. Oh no, it's not the 5 of something. It's actually the Hierophant reversed. Sorry, sometimes it's a little bit harder to tell with this as to what we're looking at. Beautiful deck, but sometimes I'm still learning it. And speaking of learning, that's what we're talking about here. So this could either be that if people understood more about the spiritual underpinning, you could be able to help others with that, change their perspective, help people learning about spiritual connections, because certainly the Hanged Man has a spiritual energy. The 8 of Pentacles is about skill development. And then when we have the Hierophant reverse, it's like it's unconventional. So I feel that whatever your spirituality is, it's not necessarily that you've come through some conventional religion, or even if you have, you've actually elevated to a level that you're seeing it from a different perspective. So you could teach others. There's a side of this where you could actually, if people understood and knew more about your spiritual underpinnings, you could teach them about an alternative way to look at spirituality and so forth. You could also help people, and this is interesting because there's such a sense here about what is meant to be dialed down, about how to be a little bit more self-reliant, I think, because I feel like if you stop the sacrifice of being the person who's always keeping everything stable, and you teach others to do it in a more unconventional way, and you bring them in alignment with a spiritual way, then in fact, this energy in you, the monk energy in you, the energy that is very self-reliant, very singular, could actually be how you would help to dial that down. So instead of always looking after people and always being the wise person with the answers, even if people don't understand the spiritual underpinnings, if you start to teach people, whether it's literally your spiritual path or whether it is just the sense of the singular focus and the self-reliance and what that means and how to think differently about that, you could achieve what you're trying to do there. So there's something about your spirituality that would help you, and the way that you can be very much your own person within your spirituality, and you're prepared to be different. You're prepared to break the old conventions if they're not going to bring you what you need and they're not going to connect you with enlightenment. Because I feel like the Hanged Man with a different perspective is also about enlightenment, and we have it with the monk. You could do a revelation for people around how to have that sense of self-determination. I think that's what we're looking at there. So let's have a look here with the dark weave about what's going on here with the responsibility, the sense of responsibility, and how or why you would want that to be seen a little bit less or to be a bit more hidden. For anybody who doesn't know that you have those sort of roles, to not make that the focus of your connection with them, and for those that do, to help shift this energy, we have the Ace of Swords reversed. We have the 6 of Cups. Just move these a little bit closer so that they're not off the screen. And we have the Fool. Okay. All right. So I'm feeling that for quite a lot of you, this is a family responsibility. As I said to you, there might be a sort of sense that you were the adult even when you were a child. But I think right now many of you might have children, or if you don't have children, a lot of the people around you almost have taken on that role. You know, they with the Six of Cups and with the Fool there. It's sort of, I think that this is you helping people with the Ace of Swords reversed here in holding back, not coming up with the answers, not coming up with the next step, getting other people to start to think about what risks will they take, what are they trying to achieve, that kind of energy. And maybe going back and remembering what it was like for you. Like, I think there's a very strong sense here that you had your own learning, and I think it was probably, some of it came in from past lives, I'd say, but also I think it was really rapid. You rapidly learned, and I think you did it by having to look after yourself or having to be the adult. I feel as though this is what you are wanting to try and shift. You're wanting to try and shift so that other people unlock their own path, you know, with the Fool, the ambition and so forth, and that they move beyond just the sort of like childlike things. So I think that you're pulling away, much like a parent. Like a good example, when a little child is learning to walk, at first the parent will sort of help them, hold them up or whatever. Eventually they have to pull back and let the child sort of stagger and fall a little bit, but then eventually get their balance. It's like that kind of thing. I think that you want to be seen less as the stability and security and the guide, and more as the one who unlocks what people could do so that they go and do, similar to you, they actually become very independent, which then would allow you to have a bit more fun. So over here, like people, and maybe part of this is the only way to do that is to make it fun. There's a very fun energy there. So I think that like showing a side that's more about fun, games, all of that kind of thing could be what, you know, how you would get people to see that side of you might actually help them see less of the other, like it balances off. So let's see with the Lightweave again, let's see what there is in terms of what you'd like people to see more of. King of Pentacles, the King of Cups reversed, and the Nine of Swords reversed. Okay, all right. So what do you want people to see? You want people to see that you could be fun, youthful, and all that kind of thing. You're not old before your time. You're not just all about, you know, the business and the dollars and responsibility. But that doesn't mean that you aren't a responsible person. Like, I think you want people to see that your fun side exists alongside your stability and what you can do. You know, that's actually the Knight of Pentacles. Sorry, I thought it was the King of Pentacles. It's the Knight of Pentacles. And that you are loyal to people, that you are loyal to the situation, that you're dependable. So there's very much a sense of you don't want people to feel that you've suddenly become frivolous, but you don't want to be constantly, with the King of Cups reversed, dealing with heavy sort of energy and healing energy and so forth. But you also don't want to feel guilty about it. You want to be able to have people see that you can have fun and that you're not always having to be about the work and so forth or healing others. There's a bit of guilt tripping that's been done on you, I think. I think that whether consciously or not, you know, family, people around you or whatever are used to you being the responsible one. So there's a bit of a shift here. So you want to move away from the guilt that could be associated with just being frivolous sometimes and not worrying about everybody else's emotions. But you do want people to know that you remain dedicated to your relationships and to all the, you know, the things that are material in the world. It's just that there is this other side. I really feel that your very spiritual soul age is very old. But that doesn't mean that you in this life are old, and it's kind of a shift from just the responsible one to the one who also has fun. So I think that's the key energy here. So let's have a look about what impact does all of this have on how you are viewed. Like, if you are trying to move towards that but not lose the sense of, you know, that you are a responsible person. You don't want people to think you've suddenly become a maverick and can't be relied on. Equally, you want people to take up what they can do in this, and you're trying to work out how to incorporate the spiritual side of things, either very overtly, if you actually come out and say it to people, or more sort of implicitly. What impact is this dynamic for you in how you would like to be seen? How are people overall seeing you? So this is like just kind of, people do see you as having wisdom they don't fully understand, and that's a bit different. They see you very much as being responsible and the one who kind of helps them out. They don't really see the fun side. So overall, what is this doing with how you're being seen by people? We have the have to be careful. The seven of Pentacles reversed. The six of, oh no, sorry, it's not the six, it's the Lovers. The Knight of Cups, okay. The Queen of Cups. And the Six of Pentacles reversed. All right, okay. Firstly, I think that you're going to be successful in what you're trying to do here because we have the Six of Pentacles reversed at the end. And to me, that is coming into a level of equality. So one of the two things about you, one is the wisdom with how you do things. It's not as though that's not like, a CEO, that's a monk, right? And it's a teacher and a spiritual sort of energy. You're not lording it over people. This is not you going, I'm the boss, I make all the decisions. Oh, but by the way, I want to have fun. Like this is much more a spiritual thing. So people do not feel lesser than you. And you can use that and be successful with that if you want people to actually take on some of what you do and like get a bit more balance into things. So that's good. This is not you trying to shift a power dynamic. You're just trying to shift an awareness, I think. And so people don't see you as being bossy or over them or anything like that. And I think that is good for you to be heading towards what you would like to be seen more of. I do think that people feel that you're very focused on the material and maybe to the point that you're not having fun and having life and having relationships. Like I think that there are people around you with the Queen of Cups, Knight of Cups and the Lovers who would like to see more of you and would like to kind of connect in with you. So I feel like at the moment they feel like there's a kind of a diminishing returns for you in such a focus on the material. They'd like to see more of you. They feel like you're almost surrounding your emotional life with the material life. But in here, there is a sort of, they do see you as someone very attractive, someone very emotionally kind, someone that, needs to focus on that a bit more. So I think there's a great openness actually around you, at least with the people that you would most want to see this side of you. I think you're going to find it's easier than you think to shift that, because I think people are just waiting for that. They're wanting to do that. And I wouldn't be surprised if you're not in a relationship that someone really is attracted to you and wants to come forward. And if you are in a relationship, I feel like the person you're in a relationship with wants to spend more emotional time with you and would be prepared to sort of share the load. So I think that's very, very positive about what people are not seeing about you at the moment. I don't think it's really that they're not seeing it. It's that they're not seeing that. It's not that they're not seeing the potential of it. They're just not seeing it being manifest yet. So if you could manifest it by actually saying, okay, today I'm this weekend, I'm not going to think about work at all. I'm going to have fun. That would be very welcomed, which is good. So then with the Dark Weave Tarot, what impact is this having on how you see yourself and what you don't see in yourself? So I'm going to do 3 cards for the impact of this shift for you on how you will see yourself. And then I'm going to do 3 cards that are a connection to Griselle's reading, which is a little bit about what else you don't see about yourself. So it's just a bit of a teaser to remember to see Griselle's reading as well. So firstly, what the impact of actually moving towards getting your way that you're viewed by others more in the balance that you would like. What is that going to have on you? We have the 5 of Cups reversed. Then the Knight of Pentacles reversed. Oh, that's interesting. So there's a kind of a swapping out of that. And the Wheel of Fortune reversed. So firstly, the impact on you coming out of emotional blocks, being happier and so forth. Knight of Pentacles reversed, it is you moving a bit away from that. You're very focused on it at the moment. You will be moving a bit away from that. There might be some issue around timing you need to be aware of. With the Wheel of Fortune reversed, that often says to me it's a matter of timing, because I see that the Wheel of Fortune, whether it's upright or reversed, it doesn't make a huge amount of difference because the wheel goes up and the wheel goes down. But with it down at this point, I would say actually, what will push you towards this? There is a side of you that really wants to have the fun, but I think the thing that's going to push you towards it is, or the thing that would make it easier for you to do it, let's put it that way, is to understand when you are in a cycle where there isn't as much return for the effort. like this is a downtime for your business or something like that, that's where you're best able to do this, because that's where you get to balance it. So it's like if you have a period of time, in your business or your career where it's not as busy, that's the time to maybe make that shift even more, because you're going to feel more comfortable with it. So that's sort of just something to sort of know about the energy. Now, what don't you know about yourself? Just as I say, a bit of a teaser towards Griselle's reading that could be useful to kind of realise, that would be helpful for this as well. We have the Queen of Swords reversed. Oh, that kind of makes sense. We have the Two of Cups reversed. And we have the Queen of Cups reversed. Yeah, okay. Two things in that really clearly. One is that you're very hard on yourself. This is also why people tend to sort of see you as being very focused on the material and outcomes and responsibility. You're too hard. So even your spirituality, I think, with the monk is a very ascetic way of being spiritual. With the Queen of Swords reversed, you're very quick to criticise yourself if you don't live up to some standard. So you need to kind of lighten up a bit. With the Two of Cups reversed, it's interesting here because, one, it means that you're not focusing in on what others would really like to see and what would work really well. But I think it's also that you do need to be aware, if you are trying to get other people to take on sort of stuff and get a better balance, is not to reflect that criticism on them either. Like, the best way to do it is to have the fun, and I think you kind of know that, and sort of like suggest to them skills or whatever, or things like, and let them work it out, because it's like, it's very, very important to know that you may come across, if you were, it's almost like in a workplace delegating work, like the worst thing you can do when you delegate work is then to critique everything that happens with it, because people do things differently. I think you need to say, what is the standard that we need? And beyond that, let people find their own way. But your own self-critique, you could reflect on others and could affect your relationships. And people may see you as being very perfectionist energy. And that might also be making it less likely that people will take things up or see you as fun. And Queen of Cups reverse, it's like you kind of see that whole thing like, the facts are the facts, and the standards are the standards. It's not showing your empathy, and you really do have empathy. Like, people want to connect with that. Again, that fun energy would do it. So there's something in you where you are so responsible, and you are wise in many ways, but people may find that a bit intimidating, I think, and may feel like, oh, if I stepped up, will I meet these sort of requirements of it? So that's something to be aware of. So let's see if there's anything else. We're going to get 3 cards from a characteristics deck for 3 other things about you that people maybe don't see. And we'll get some straight talking advice around that, around whether they should see it or not and what you can do about that. So we've got the big picture thing here for you. What else could be going on? What else are people not seeing? They're not seeing restlessness. Okay, yeah, because you seem so secure, but you're restless. You want to do something else. You want some freedom. Practical. So that's interesting. People see you working really hard. People see you being really responsible. They may actually think there's easier ways of doing things. If they're not seeing you as practical, they may think that you're kind of almost a bit obsessive. You have some really good, I do think you can communicate that, because I think if you communicate the skills that you have, people will see the practicality. It will help them take up their fair share. And what else don't they see in you? Dark. Oh, okay. I think you're very, what is the right thing? And like, dark doesn't necessarily mean bad, but you have your own shadows and your own, so I think you hold yourself in really strict regulation, but there's a wish to kind of like break free operating. So let's just get some straight talking from Spirit about this. So what do they say about the fact that people don't see your restlessness? I am grateful. Actually, this may be something that is good that they don't see, because it allows you to it allows it almost like a passing of the baton without it appearing like you're just not being responsible. Like you would be very, very worried if people thought you were not being responsible, or that's just coming from restlessness. But also, the more that you're grateful for what you do, it's kind of like maybe it calms some of that down. What about practical? People aren't seeing you as practical. Okay, you're not communicating your goals. And this is the monk thing. You're just doing it. Like you really do come across, there are some managers that I've seen in workplaces and so forth that are kind of like, if you've got to do something, well, do it yourself. And it's not really that you look down on other people, but it's like you just take such responsibility. So I think if you start to show people what your long-term goals are a little bit more, they'll see the practicality of what you're doing and also how you've done it. It's showing them behind the scenes on how to do something. It's a teaching element here. And then dark. Now, you may or may not want people to know your dark side, but what does Spirit have to say about that? Danger. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, there is a side of you that people find a bit intimidating, and you know, it's more that they don't understand. I don't think you're saying the first principle for you is the spirituality. Everything comes from that, but you're not necessarily communicating it to a lot of people. And that, so they may find you're kind of like almost stoic, material manifestation vibe as being a little bit like, you know, what's the motivation behind that? And it's actually very pure, but maybe people don't see that, and as a result they find you a bit intimidating. So it's worth knowing that. Okay, so let's also see for each of those aspects an astrology pairing. So around the monk, so around that energy, your spiritual energy, what are people not seeing there? Sun and moon, how much everything is in balance. You actually are very imbalanced. People are just not seeing the balance. So they're seeing the sun, I think, rather than the moon, because we have the girl there. So you are very imbalanced. It's very alchemical for you, but people don't necessarily know that. What about what they maybe do see a bit, you want to see a bit less of? Neptune and Pluto, yeah. Again, the spiritual basis and the change process about this. See, one of the things that's interesting here, actually, and this might be why there's sort of dark energy and you kind of give off a little bit of a, oh, what's going on? This person's a bit mysterious, is that I think that although you are about making the people that you care about secure, material things being sensible and practical, all of that kind of thing, you're also about change because you're coming from a very strong spiritual basis. So it's not that you want to create a pyramid and it stays like that forever. You want that pyramid to be able to evolve, and you want it to become, you want to inculcate the material with the spiritual. People don't sort of see that. You're much more of a evolutionary person than just a make everything the way it is. But it, again, maybe connecting the spirituality with the Neptune and a concept of change that the new is meant to bring in, so you're passing the baton, that might be helpful. And then the energy astrologically around wanting to have a bit of fun, like wanting life to actually be playful and fun. Venus and Pluto, this is a big change that you need to make in yourself, and more towards the divine feminine side of your aspect. And you know it. You know it's time. You know you need to do it. This is Pluto. You know that spiritually, to stay in balance, you're out of balance maybe, you have to do this. So it's the rising of the divine feminine, it's the rising of the spiritual. That's the way through. So let's just get advice from the Boho Spirit Oracle for each of them about what to think about to make people understand this a bit more about you. So about your spiritual balance, rise above it. Yeah, rise above the material concerns. Rise above all the sort of stuff where you felt it's just about responsibility. There's sort of like a higher order perspective to have. Around getting more spiritual and a little less material, the advice is be comfortable in your skin. Okay, yeah, I think that you're taking so much on that you're kind of sitting into something rigid. To have the change that's necessary, you need to, and again, it's like it's a female figure there. It's this fun, it's the light, the freedom, that kind of thing. Be comfortable about that. Know that that is in alignment with your spirituality. It's not you giving up on your responsibility. And for letting people see more of your fun side and your playful side, align your energy. Yeah. It's like, yeah, your energy is very focused on probably root chakra more than anything. Maybe a little bit also on kind of the throat chakra and the third eye, like, you know, like communication with others about core issues, but you need your sort of your creative energy, your own power, your heart energy, your cosmic consciousness, all of that kind of thing. It's like, that's all. This is just an alignment. It's not that it's that the things, I think there's a shadow of all of this that people know, but they don't see it clearly. That's what this is really talking about. So let's just finish with something fun. So I thought, because this could be fairly heavy, and there's a kind of a heavy thing here, though, interesting enough, you want to have more fun. So this is an ideal ending. I'm going to use the love oracles. Now, there's a series of different oracles, love oracles being one of them, and they just have people from history, and it's just funny as much as anything else. So don't take too much to heart who we get, but I just want to get an energy of the more what you could present or what you're dealing with in what you're not seen as. It could be either of those things, and the advice from the person in history. And this is very much because it's the love oracles around love and connection, but that's also about how you're seen by other people. So as I say, just have a laugh if it's funny, if it's profound, take something from it. And for you, wow, we get Jay-Z. So there is a sort of sense there of that's interesting. Like there is a kind of a, the leader of a pack kind of energy around Jay-Z with some of the other people he worked with. So we've got avoid one-off deals or else make sure they are really worth it. So I think that's kind of like understanding the material and how you can sort of like teach others. We've got the right partner is the one who can match you and then some. And that, remember the equality energy, and there is someone there. If you're looking for someone, particularly so with the sun moon there, very strong energy wants to come in. If you are with someone, then like think about how that's impacting this relationship, because you're equals and you can work together on something. And then who's going to help you run this town tonight? Yeah, I definitely think that you can't just do it all on your own. And you do know that, particularly if you want to have some fun. You've got to come out of the I'm responsible for everything vibe. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. Do go and see Griselle's reading, because I think there's not a huge shift here. It's a kind of more a kind of doing it by action, but like making sure that others feel that's liberating them to take on their own maturity and their own responsibility. I think it's just a shift and alignment, as this says, and you being more and more comfortable in the fact that you don't just have to be the responsible one all the time. So really important to go and see what you don't see about yourself, because that will be a very important part of this for you. So I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like and subscribe. And beyond that, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the reading with eagles. So this is an overarching aspect of you that people don't really realize or see yet, but which is a driving force. This is what you would want to keep hidden at the moment for whatever reason. And this is what you would like people to see more of. There's a very strong, obvious message here. So I think I'm going to just say what it is, I think, and then we'll look at all the nuances, but you'll know whether this is your reading. This is for people who are involved in, whether it's a spiritual war, a political or a cause or a social thing, or there's some sort of issue around conflict and debate and so forth in a workplace or in a family situation. There is a change process that has to come. There is a battle that has to come. And you know that, and you're ready. And it's very important to you for the truth, for honor, and all of those things, but you're ready for the battle, but you don't want it to appear yet. I think you may be open to gradually people seeing that there's a battle and having people join you. But what you really want people to see is how you're going through major change, and how there is almost an inevitability about what's going on at the moment and what you're doing and your role. Like there's only really one way. You need people to see this change is inevitable. Like going from one state to another is inevitable because of whatever this competition is that's going on. And what you're hiding in the end is that once you've gone through the tunnel, there is a bridge. There will be the connection. You do want people to think there is, or in the end, there will be a connection, a path through, but you don't want people to be complacent. So at the moment, the fact that you can kind of see with an eagle eye view where the promised land is, let's put it that way, in whatever this situation is. You need people to go deep within and be with you in the journey through the tunnel, because and to be in the battle or whatever it is, or to have you as their champion, whatever this might be. You need a sense of urgency. People are not seeing this in this situation right now. So this is very situation specific, and it may be something about your nature that you may be drawn to seeing this. You're someone who people do need to listen to, because you see way ahead. Again, the eagle eye view that we talk about. It's a bit like these days, people talk about, like it takes 6 months for conspiracy theory to become conspiracy fact. It's probably more like 6 weeks these days. But anyway, that kind of thing. You really do see the consequences of things. You can see the trajectory of where things are heading. And you understand human nature enough to know that you have to navigate with a sense of urgency before you get to the sense of completion or rectification or resolution. There's actually a structure that a communications expert once talked to me about, which I think is really interesting, which is called a classic call to arms speech. And basically what you start with is a picture of what is good and what is great and what people bring in together. Then you talk about what's at stake and that the change is necessary and why it's necessary to not only uphold what is good, but also maybe to protect it, but also maybe to take it to the next step. So it's like it's a call to arms. It's like, be ready. We've got to go through this change. And then it's like, this is the promised land. So this is the energy around it. I think you are a thought leader in some, and I think you're naturally drawn to contentious situations. The interesting thing about you, though, is that I think that people see this more than anything. But it's like, you are the person that, people would think would resolve situations, resolve issues, resolve conflict. And I think it's very, very true, but it's because you're prepared to face it and face the truth. And there's just something at the moment where there's an urgency, where you need people to see this is a journey you have to go on and they have to come with you as well. So it's very situation specific, I think. Now, what we're going to be talking about with this, we're going to be using 2 different tarot decks that are mirror versions of each other, the light weave and the dark weave of the Manifest Tarot. The light weave I'm going to use for the overarching thing here, what you would want people to see this a bit more and what you really want people to see more. The dark weave for what you need to kind of hold back for the moment, and that's what this feels like. It's like if you tell people the solution, they'll just think it's all sorted, but it isn't. There's something like that has to happen together. People have to be on the journey with you. So there's something that we'll use the dark weave for that. Then when we've looked at each of those, we'll have a look at how the impact of this energy is on how other people are seeing you in general. And then secondly, with the dark weave, what impact does this have on you and what don't you see as yourself as a little bit of a connection to Griselle's reading. So there's a bit of a structure we're building here. So we're going to start with 3 cards from the Light Weave Tarot to get a little bit more about what is this sort of like eagle-eye view, honour, truth and preparedness to battle that people are not really seeing in you. I think they think of you probably more like that. They think of you as the conciliator, the mediator, the negotiator, but there's something a little bit more serious going on at the moment, I think. And this could be in anything. It could be at work, it could be in a social cause, it could be in a relationship, whatever it is. So a little bit more about the eagles, what people aren't seeing. 10 of Wands, the Magician reversed. Got a feeling in another one that I thought that was Pentacles, but I think it's a Magician. I'm getting used to this deck, but I'm going by what I get when I look out with it. So that's a Magician reversed. And the 6 of Pentacles. Okay, all right. So firstly, there is something that's not true going on, and you do cloak a lot of your ability. I think you kind of have to. I think you're in an environment where you kind of have to cloak your ability to a large extent. You have very, very strong willpower, but you can't show that right now. As I say, because then it moves to people just want you to come up with a solution, but you're very, very strong. People don't realize how strong you are or what burdens you carry. You keep a lot of secrets. You're very generous. So what this is coming from is it is in the best interests of others. But as I say, you're the kind of the eagle energy. You're up above things. You see things more than other people see. And so you are helping others. There is something in helping others here. But you cloak it a lot. And I think you have to. But I think you're also in a situation where the truth is under a burden. And the generous thing to do is to be able to face that, not kind of like close your eyes and pretend it isn't happening. So you're kind of aware of who you are and how you have to. This is a complex situation. So let's have a look at what you would like a little bit less of, like less of a focus of your nature, which is the conciliator. This is much more about going through change and a battle at the moment. So what is it about the conciliator energy, the bridge, the connection that you need to kind of pull back on? the moon, yeah, you're in a very tricky situation, I would say. The Two of Pentacles and Strength. Okay. Yeah, you are a force to be reckoned with, I have to say, pile 2. But like there is a mystery. Like the only way that you can uncover what would be good, would be the good choices, the good balance and so forth, materially or whatever this is about, is to go through the tunnel. It's like, too much is hidden right now. And so you are hiding what the options are, because that it has to go through this process, and you're having to have the strength and the courage to do that. The courage not to move into, I'll just sit down and just sort this out. There is a battle. There is a battle to be had here. So, and when you are in a battle, you can't just sort of jump straight to negotiation, because that would almost be capitulation. So you're hiding that side of you. That will come into play when it's necessary, but right now that's just not to be seen. You need the sense of urgency. You need the call to arms. Let's see about this change process, this direction, this inevitability, dealing with the inevitable. You want people to see that's what this is, and that you are able to do that, and you are able to lead people through inevitable change. Let's see a little bit more about that. We have Three of Pentacles reversed. This is not up for debate. The King of Pentacles, security. This is the way to protect others. You are like the king. You are like the person who has to sort of like lead the people. And the Three of Wands, you know what the direction is. And there's only one direction. There's only one ship here that's big enough to carry this, really. You know what? It has a very Moses and the Exodus feeling, this. It's like it was inevitable. It had to happen. Some of it had to be done in secret. If there was going to be any conciliation or cooperation, well, that wasn't going to work in that situation. Too much was hidden. And it was like how to get people to see the urgency and follow and see that this was going to work. It was not sort of something, it was not by committee. You really are the leader in something, and people may not realise that right now. As I say, conspiracy theory to conspiracy fact, there's like a tipping point where maybe the person's saying, here's what's coming. Finally, people see it and then they follow. That's kind of where we're heading towards, and that's what you have to get to. But then you have to be able to rally the troops, call to arms, as I say. So if that energy is going on at the moment, and it probably happens quite a lot with you to various levels, I just think it's at a very specific level at the moment. How is that energy, that what people are not seeing and what you need them to see more of and less of, how is that impacting overall how people see you? And whether it's right or wrong. Like, let's just see what we get with that. The Seven of Swords, the Hanged Man, the Eight of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles reversed, the King of Swords. Okay, all right. So people see you as very strategic. They're not entirely sure if they can always trust you, mind you, and this is the Magician reversed up there. Because as I say, again, if you're sort of saying something before other people do, they might think, what you're saying true, is it crazy, but like they do see you as very strategic and very smart, and they see you as very fair. So that's good. People do understand that you're about the truth, and they almost see you more as a judge than as a leader. But I think there's something about this, about your capacity to judge what's going on and communicate that and have a strategy. When the imperative to change hits, you're the person they will follow, because they think you're fair and they think that you've seen and understood what's going on. So you really do have a lot of equity in the intellectual bank, let's put it that way. People do think you're very clever. They also think that you are either very spiritually oriented, or they may think that you're prepared to sacrifice yourself for something. They also see you as someone who's very skilled and that they can learn from. But there is a kind of a dependency on you. And look, you can use that in this situation. Like if they are dependent upon what you're doing, and they see you very much connected to whatever this is. So it's good that they see you as being very fair, because whatever you're talking about, whatever this is about, it could be a key relationship in a family dispute. It could be, something social, political, whatever it is. They do think that you are fair and clever, even if you are not exactly neutral, because you're not neutral. And that's going to become quite clear. You're going to be in this battle, but so you do have your team, you do have your people. So I think that works quite well. The only thing I think that could be an issue here is that they may mistake your sense of timing around this to being delaying something. And it may give them a sense that there isn't as much urgency as you would like them to have. So I think there's something here about to really leverage how people see you to get the urgency. You need to build your skills for moving past things, not slowing things down. So let's get 3 cards for how what impact all this has on how you're seeing yourself, and also then 3 cards for what you may not see about yourself that is important to this, which is the connection over to Griselle's reading. So firstly, what is this imperative that you're operating with and how people view you? What impact is that having on how you see yourself? How you see yourself, yeah. Wheel of Fortune, the time is coming. 5 of Pentacles reversed, and it is, you may have been a bit of a lone eagle, but you do have to connect with others. And Judgment reversed, okay, and it's about more than just you. The time is coming, but you haven't quite had the call, so to speak, but it's coming. And so there's a kind of a thing of understanding, if you're going to need to do this, getting more and more connected to the people that you would want to come with you, I think at this point is important, because the call will come, but it hasn't quite yet. So what don't you know about yourself that would be helpful to know? Linking over to Griselle's reading around this, because this is pretty big stuff in whatever way it's operating. 8 of Swords. 2 of, it's not the 2, it's the High Priestess reversed. 2 of Wands reversed. Okay. All right. What you don't know about your greatest strength is also your greatest challenge. And what I mean by that is your greatest strength in all of this, with your foresight, with your eagle eye view, being up in the air, is your mind. Your mind is very, very strong and people will go with it. But because it's strong and because you go more by that, what seems logical or strategic rather than intuitive, you can box yourself in as well too. There's more than one option. What this is saying is, what you're not necessarily seeing is there's more than one option to resolve this. To go through. There is one change process with the tunnel, but there is a risk going through a tunnel of tunnel-eyed vision. So I think it's very, very important here to understand how your intellect and your viewpoint may limit some of your intuitive capacity to deal with this as well too. And it may not be that important in going through the change unless, as I say, it narrows down the options too much, but it's going to be very important when you then do kind of bring out of hiding the resolution side of things. So your greatest strength is also your greatest challenge. Very, very clever. So don't be too clever, basically, like get that in balance. Okay. So if that's kind of the big ticket stuff, let's also get with the character oracle, 3 other characteristics about you that other people are not seeing but are true of you. And then we're going to get with the straight talking tarot, just, some advice around each of those. So 3 other things that could connect to this or might be separate that other people don't see in you but are in you. Lovable. Yeah, you are. You're a very nice person, but you're very earnest. Like this stuff is very earnest. But it is coming from a loving place. But again, because the mind is so strong, people might not realize they may see you as being this sort of like rather chill, separate strategist. But you are very lovable. Nature lover. Okay. So again, it's like you might be in the kind of the hallways of political power or whatever, but you actually really love the earth and you love nature and you love all of those sort of things and so forth. But that people don't see that. They're seeing the cause. And enthusiastic. Yeah, there's something like you'll be enthusiastic about a cause in the sense, but it's like a call to arms, as I say. It's like there is something a bit chill about you and like future, like living very much in the future. And you can be enthusiastic about the future, certainly. But I think there's something here about you're also present in the here and now. When you're looking to the future in that eagle eye view, you're looking to protect and to nourish the here and now. So that's what's lovable. That's the nature lover. That's enthusiastic. But it's like, it's a kind of earnestness here. So let's see what the Straight Talking Tarot has to say about each of those aspects that people are not seeing in you. So around the lovable, shine your own light. Yeah, like there is something beautiful in you. It's not just the battle. It's not just the battle. Around the nature lover, the more that you shine your own light, the more that people see that sort of lovable side of you. I think you're very much about the cause. Then the nature lover, authentic. Yeah, that sort of shows how authentic you are. It may even be that one of the ways to bring people on board is to make sure that, you know, the environment, nature, and that support shows how authentic you are. This isn't a power play. This is sort of something that's sustainable on an earth level. And enthusiasm. I mean, I'm talking about you like you're a political operative or a social justice operative or something, but, you know, it could be in anything, any aspect of your life. Around enthusiastic. Ooh, okay. You may have dealt with somewhere where you felt betrayed when you were open about something enthusiastic and positive. So I think there's something here to be aware of, because as I say, there's that little bit of tunnel vision that could happen, that yes, it's a battle, but, you know, what's that saying that, you know, if all you have is a hammer, then all you're ever going to see is a nail. You know, like it's sort of like there are different ways of being enthusiastic and doing something. So there's something here where you felt betrayed, or your enthusiasm, or your kind of openness and all that kind of thing. You've kind of hidden some things away. I think you're in a very complex environment. So being aware of that, because it's like being enthusiastic in and of itself does not lead to a betrayal. So this is why you're hiding some of it with the Magician reverse. So just be aware about how to deal with that. Okay, let's also get some astrology energy. So some pairings of planets around how you are not seen, but maybe it would be good if you were, or, you know, depending upon which we're talking about. So overall, your eagle eye view, your sense of the future, your sense of honor and truth. Moon and Chiron. See, it's something very lovable and beautiful in this. This is the other thing. People see you as the strategist, the king of swords, the leader, you know, like, but you actually have a heart as well, and you have your own healing to do. And what you're trying to do is healing and caring. It comes from a very caring place. So people don't realize that about you. When we look at what you want to kind of pull back from, that is they don't know about you, or that they want, or you want them to know a little bit less about for the moment, we have Sun and Uranus. Like, okay, I feel like, again, like this feels very much like taking people through a social cause or a political cause or something like that. I think it comes from the heart. It comes from a healing energy. The reason that you don't want to talk about resolution yet is that you recognize, and it's wise, that if you did that, the change would be all about what you think. But if you take everybody through the process, then it becomes more something that the whole group can own. So I think there you actually do have a lot of wisdom and fairness around this. And then around the need to get people to see the urgency and to go through the change energy and to walk that walk with you. Jupiter and Pluto, yeah, this is a benefic thing you're trying to do, the change, to help them through change in a benefic way, to protect them. You're a very protective energy. And if people understand that. But do know that at the moment, people are following you or going through more because they think you're fair. I think this is very much of the heart. So there could be sort of something to think about with that. Shine your light, the love that you have. So let's just get some spiritual advice for each. So the Moon Chiron, getting people to understand a bit more about your sense of honor and perspective comes from an emotional healing. Take care of yourself. Okay, so lead by example. Don't burn yourself out. With Sun Uranus, so why you don't want to overtake the change process. So what will help you with that? Rise above it. Yeah, be the eagle. Just be more about the journey. Rise above the kind of like the wish to just dictate or have people just come to you for answers. You could get a lot of people who kind of stroke your ego a bit about this, but like rising above it so that you stay true to your heart. And then how you get people to see the urgency, but also that this is a protective thing that you're doing. Help plant the seeds of success. Oh, that goes back to the nature lover. But it is helping it. Like it's like getting people to understand the urgency of the change and that success is possible. It's a nurturing sort of energy. Okay, so last but not least, so this is pretty big. Like, as I say, this might be just something that's going on at the moment, but I think you're that kind of person. So this is part of the pattern. And I think the more that you can get people to get the urgency and follow you, but work with you and understand that this is a nurturing energy. People do need to understand and follow you on the issue, but beyond that, you want them to also be part of the solution in the end, and that you're authentic and it comes from a place of love. So let's just finish with something amusing. So I'm using the love oracles because I felt, relationship with people and how we've seen that's useful. And this is one of a number of oracles I have of this type, and they're humorous as much as anything else. So it could just be funny, in which case just take the humour. Otherwise, if it's profound, take that. So this is just a kind of energy that you might be able to manifest if people knew you a bit better. Oh, wow. Mata Hari. I mean, she's a spy in a very dangerous situation. Like, there's something, I'm not saying you're literally in danger, but there's intrigue around this, and there's a battle around this and so forth. She says, always be ready for the performance of your life. So I think, this is shining a light and really, really the call to arms speech. She says, seduction is the most powerful currency. So using your heart and showing more and more of that. You're a very lovable person. You do need to bring that forward. And can be very compelling with that. And she says, your true friends see through your disguises. So the ones who really get this actually do know this about you. So you do have some people already on your side who do know it, but there's a bigger group of people you're dealing with, I think. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. Do go and see Griselle's reading. If you're in this sort of situation, you really need to know what you don't see about yourself, because that's going to be a really important thing. The more self-knowledge we have, the better it is for us to be able to do something strategic that involves a lot of people. So hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Tiger. And Tiger is all about confidence, strength, dynamism, all that sort of energy. It makes me think of the Chinese astrology sign of the tiger, which talks about that bravery, magnetic sort of energy, sometimes a little bit arrogant and so forth. There is a side of you overall that is about strength, dynamism, moving forward, and you're prepared to take on any battle. You're prepared to really get into it if necessary. There is a kind of a caution around that about not having have assertiveness, not aggression, but there is a deep hidden power in you at the moment. So I would say that in your relationships, in your workplace, and whatever this is relating to, you're probably not seen as someone who is aggressive. It might be seen as assertive. You might be seen as confident, but not as sort of like really, ready to sort of like push forward and get other people to do what you want and all that kind of thing. But there is a hidden power in you. That's what this is really talking about. And it's kind of necessary, because you are really a futurist. You are, there are people who do that. There are people who are they look at trends and they predict into the future. There are prophets who understand the past and get the sort of divine channeling and can see the future. You want people to see more of this because you really do have a vision for the future, or you can see the future coming in. People don't realize that yet about you for some reason, or maybe they haven't seen the outcome. But one of the other things, because of the raw energy of force in you, what you're trying to keep a bit hidden, because either it's going to freak people out and they won't see the future, they'll just see this as like chaos, is that you understand and get that often for a new future to be born, there has to be chaos, like that new creations come out of chaos. So, there's that statement, out of order, out of chaos, that the chaos comes first. When we think about the creation of the universe, it was the Big Bang, or whatever you want to talk about, they're the kind of primordial gods that were around creation, but they were also around chaos. So there is a side of you that knows that and is comfortable and strong in that energy, but you probably don't want people to see it too much, because it's that's the thing that would block them looking at the future. They would be so much in the kind of survival mode around this that they wouldn't see the future. Now, this could be a very big ticket thing. You could be an entrepreneur. As I say, you could be a futurist. You could be sort of someone who's trying to bring in some new economic order or social order or something like that. Or it could be just around your workplace or your friendships or your family. You can see what the future is, but it's possible that people see, when you talk about it, this more than this. So you've got to pull back a bit on the distraction, the tower. This is like a tower card, right? So you're pretty comfortable with tower energy because you have the confidence and the strength. But a lot of other people go, oh my God, and run away. So you know that you need to hide that part of the equation a bit. But it's possible that you need to hide it more because maybe people see you as chaotic. Maybe people see you as iconoclastic. Maybe people see you as sort of someone who's very good at finding everything that's wrong with something and tearing it down, but they don't understand this is to create a future. They just see you as someone who threatens the status quo. So it sort of depends how it plays out. But you do have the strength and the understanding that has to precede that, but you want people to understand this a bit more. That you're about the future and you're about a good future. You're not about a future that is just chaos forever. It's then a future that is, growing and people can move in and, like in a technology and whatever else it may be. So your energy, people pick it up. And if you were misinterpreted, your kind of energy and confidence with the chaos energy, you could just be seen as as an iconoclast or as a contrarian or something like that. That's why it's really important for people to see this as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the light weave and the dark weave and the manifest tarot. So I'm going to use the light weave for these two, like things that really to bring to the surface for people to understand a bit more about you. The dark weave for what you might need to dial back on or keep a bit more hidden, just to get 3 cards for each to get a sense a bit more about what we're talking about. Then we're going to use the light weave to say, how is this overall impacting how people are seeing you? The things they don't understand and a little bit more below the surface, what's going on there. And then we're going to use the dark weave to look firstly at how's that impacting your own self-image and connection, and what don't you see about yourself, 3 cards that'll connect to Griselle's reading that are important to understand how to play with this dynamic at its best. So let's start first with the tiger. So overall, your strength, your courage, your assertion, your preparedness for battle and all that kind of thing, it's maybe a little bit hidden or not seen or not known at the moment. So let's see what tarot wants to tell us about that. We have the 8 of Pentacles reversed. We have the 10 of Wands reversed. And we have the Magician. Wow, yeah, you're ready. You really are. You can kind of manifest. Part of the reason why you are future focused is that you are a manifester with the Magician. You maybe haven't articulated that yet, but you do have the capacity to do it. You're a master. The Eight of Pentacles reversed, you're a master at this. Your vision of the future, whatever it is, will be right. Whether it's a psychic vision, whether it's a technological, entrepreneurial vision, whatever it might be, you have the ability to express it. You have mastered what it is, and you are doing it. Where you're coming from is the best use of energy and resources, I think, because with the 10 of Wands reversed, there's a really big focus. You're not just doing a battle, or you're not being confident to go forward and assert something just to prove something about your ego and how clever you are. You're actually looking to solve some problems. You're actually looking to make things more efficient. But as I say, sometimes to get there, which is the more efficient thing, you've got to go through this first. There's a sort of breakdown in a social order, or there's a change in a team, in a workplace, or whatever it might be, changes of values within a social group. But you really are ready. You've mastered what you need to do this, and you have a very much an eye on efficiency, which is a bit of a clue to how to position this and what skills to use, because people don't yet see that. They don't yet know. You really do have a good idea about what's coming. So let's have a look firstly over here at what you need to maybe hide a bit. Your comfort with chaos and the power that's associated with that. Let's see a little bit more about that. We have the Ace of Swords reversed. The 6 of Wands reversed. The 6 of Swords. Okay. So firstly, and this is probably good, you do not need to be recognised for your capacity to deal with chaos. In fact, you recognise that just going forward and saying to people, oh yeah, I'll lead you through all that, it's all good, is not going to work. With the 6 of Wands reversed, you know that the reality is that is not a message that is easy. If you focus in on that, you're not going to win. You know that. You need to bring more and more to the surface what is the new idea, so that people feel I'm heading towards a new idea rather than focusing on the chaos. So you're comfortable with chaos. As I say, you're comfortable with tower moments. It's your bread and butter, really. But you also know that most people don't, and it freaks most people out. So this is, that's not where you look to show your victory. The victory will be if people can see the future and move towards the future and go through the change that's necessary. So what do you need to do for people to focus more on that and to see your vision for the future more? Five of Wands reversed. Eight of Wands reversed. Six of Wands upright. Because we're using the different decks. It's not in chaos that is victory. It's in the future that is victory. You need to align people with your vision of the future and what could happen, and your understanding of that you're right about that it is possible to win. And then to say to people, this is not a competition, this is a collaboration, and we don't need to rush it. Nothing needs to be rushed. This is also why it's important not to focus on this, because if you are focused on the chaos of the change, it could rush the outcome to the point that you don't create the best possible thing. If you were baking a cake and all you focused on at the beginning was sort of rushing through, throwing all the ingredients together, you might not be precise about what those ingredients are. If you want to sort of like get straight to the cake, you might find the cake doesn't rise, for instance, or something like that. So the victory is in the future. It's not about conflict, but it doesn't have to be rushed. So because you have, there's a certain degree of impatience energy with the tiger, so you need to know that within yourself. You'd like to see that future sooner rather than later, but you also recognize it has to be in the right timing. So I think the way to get people to sort of see the future is to get them to see how they could be victorious in it, how you're not competing with them through the chaos, you're not trying to take over or something, and that things can be paced in a way that is comfortable for them. Focus on that. So how does knowing this about yourself and what you might decide to nuance in terms of how you present yourself, how is that going to impact how you're seen more generally? Ten of Cups, Three of Swords reversed, Ace of Pentacles, oh, there's the new, Queen of Wands, Six of Pentacles, oh, look, yeah, this is exactly what you need, this shared energy. So I think because you're so powerful and you're so comfortable in change, people could find you a bit dominating and a bit overwhelming sometimes. As I say, like a kind of contrarian and iconoclast rather than a builder. But if you can get people to focus on the future more, you start to be seen as someone who's creating an emotional environment, a social environment, a family environment, whatever it is, that is about collective outcomes and collective joy, and about dealing with and getting rid of through the chaos stage things that were painful, like moving away from that to move towards something that's more sustainable, something that's got more blessing associated with it sort of materially. It's really going to have people see the tiger energy here with the Queen of Wands. It's like it's seeing that strength as being you being self-actualized, but allowing equality. You're not just being charitable to people. There's nothing patronizing about this. You're self-actualized. You are able to then work with equals for their recognitions as well. As I say, it's sort of like the win of this. It is a win for you, but it'll be a win for them as well. So this sort of shifts the energy towards collaboration. It shifts it towards resolving issues and healing issues and seeding a new world. So whatever this is, it's like the more that you can get people to have a shared vision of the future, because you are very future oriented, rather than a worry about the chaos that precedes that, the more that people are going to want to join with you and move forward for this. So the more successful you're all likely to be. So, okay, let's have a look at how this sort of nuance will impact how you view yourself, and then also what you don't know about yourself that would be helpful. So 3 cards firstly for how it impacts how you view yourself. The Fool, Temperance reversed, Queen of Swords. Oh, okay, yeah. So this allows you, because you're very smart with the sort of very scientific, as I say, very futurist, it allows you to really understand how your mind allows you to explore the new even when things are in chaos. Like you become even more aware of how to deal with your ability with chaos, because you have a really innate ability with chaos, but you become more, you're very objective about what you're doing, as it says, you've got a clarity to it, you're comfortable in the imbalance that occurs when it's new, but you can see with this, okay, that makes sense now. I think there's a kind of an aha moment around this of saying you kind of in your mind jump to that and we're kind of comfortable there, but understanding how to get other people to make that jump as well too, and to be very objective about what's going on when the old system is withdrawing. That's the key for you. So what might you not see about yourself? And I would say go and see Griselle's reading to add to this as well too, because the more self-knowledge that one has, the better. So what might you not see about yourself that impacts this? Okay, the Emperor, the Justice card, and the Three of Wands. Okay. The greatest success for this is some sort of joint vision of the future and joint commitment to the future, where everybody sees that they have their part and where things feel equal. But your amount of strength to go through this can come across as to others, or could be something you have to think about wanting to be the boss, and that you're the one who has to be the arbiter on everything. And that will feel more like a manipulation rather than a collaboration. You need to think about how to move away from being the boss to being someone who collaborates with others to bring things into balance. If you because of your strength just naturally become the arbiter on everything, it will limit people's commitment to this, and it will keep one in the chaos a little bit more. So it's just something to be aware of, your own strength, because remember the tiger is wonderful, really strong, but can be arrogant, can be aggressive. It's like how you balance those things. And when you're feeling comfortable in the chaos and everybody else isn't, it would be very easy to fall into that. But remember the objectivity of what you're trying to achieve, and that it's okay for things to be a bit imbalanced. You don't have to come in and fix everything all the time. This is a process that has to occur. Okay. So let's have a look. That's the big picture stuff. Let's have a look at 3 other characteristics you have that people maybe don't see. And then we'll get to Straight Talking Tarot for some advice about each of these. So these might be characteristics you want to show. They might be characteristics you don't want to show. So the first one, quirky. Yeah, you're a bit different. Well, you would be with the future thing. It's like, it's fun, it's quirky, it's experimental. And again, that's partly because you're comfortable in chaos. Like everything doesn't have to be, like the norm. In fact, you're probably always been seen to be a little bit outside of the norm, but people may not realize how quirky you are. It might be something you can leverage. Determined. People will start to see this, I think, but you are very determined. You might have to, again, moderate what that looks like and means. And Zen. Okay, yeah, you can. You're Zen in chaos. People will see that when that's occurring, whatever the change is. So let's see what advice the Straight Talking Tarot wants to give about each of those qualities. So quirky, how to best use that, whether to show it or not, what to understand about that part of you that other people don't see fully at the moment. Okay, it's not about luck. It's about being different and having the different vision. You may actually be very successful, and it might be because you had that different future focus all the time. But people may think it's luck. People may think that you got where you got a lot by luck. So again, getting them to see the future and see how they could be part of it's important. And, maybe talking about like the different perspectives you had so that they actually understand how you got where you got, so to speak, and whatever this is. Around determined, broken promises. Okay, really important if you make a commitment to stick to it. So like that is a way that you can show your determination in a way that doesn't feel like it's bossing people around. It's like, if I make a commitment, I'm going to keep it. So that's the thing to think about. And it could be easy to get drawn into that in the chaos area, but if you're determined to stick to, the objective vision, then you'll be able to show that. And then Zen, clear your mind. Yeah, your mind is very smart, you're very clever, you're very strategic, you're very much in the future, but in the midst of all the chaos, you can just kind of clear your mind and be calm. And I think that will show itself. If everybody else is sort of like running around like a headless chook, you'll be very clear and very zen. So I think it'll show over the time with this. All right, let's see some astrology around it. Let's see some astrological pairings that apply. So to the to the hidden power of the tiger that you have. We have Neptune and Pluto. It's very spiritually oriented, very psychic, very much in the liminal. You probably see a lot of the future in the liminal space, and you see the change. You see the liminal space, this is the ideal, this is the dream, this is the chaos. You balance those very, very well. You probably, in terms of spiritual interdimensional stuff, you probably can go to the celestial realms very easily. You can go into the lower world or the underworld or whatever very easily. You can kind of connect those two. That's why you're comfortable in both these spaces. But it's very spiritual. Around the chaos energy, Jupiter and Chiron. Yeah, for you, this is actually benefic. This is where the healing occurs. Like when you are in chaos and yet things are falling apart, that is where you actually understand where the healing and what the new growth could be. That's why you're comfortable in it. I think that you see the only thing that is problematic and non-healing is just staying stuck. Like this is, and it's often the case actually. You probably will find, like when you're getting better, you usually feel a bit worse before you get better. When you're dealing with muscular pain or something, it often like it's a massage and the exercise that a physio gets you to do that makes you feel a bit worse and a bit chaotic before you get better. So I think you understand that. You understand the chaotic energy as a healing and expansive principle. And then in terms of the future focus, Sun and Saturn. Yeah, this is like knowing your life path and how to bring it into being and how to create something sustainable. So there's something here as well about sustainability. It's just, again, if you are focusing people on the future outcome rather than the chaos, if you say, yes, we might need to go through a bit of change to get there, but what we're creating is something that is more stable, that becomes a much more compelling message. So let's see some spiritual advice on each. So in you connecting the realms, so to speak, to have this sort of power of the tiger, give or receive healing energy. So it's connecting over to the chaos thing. So when you are, if you were to meditate or shamanic journey or whatever into the lower world or particularly the underworld or something like that, it's kind of like connect into what is the healing energy there. It also might be pointing towards crystal healing, like crystals might be helpful for you in sort of dealing with your own healing around it. Then when we're looking at the chaos, if you're in the underworld, finding the healing, we have hidden influences at play. Yeah, you can go down and really see what's going on and really understand what's going on. And it's only there that you really can do that. And then for the future itself, manifesting the future and the life path of yourself and others. Careful who you trust. Okay. This is why this is important. This is why it's important that you are able to be in chaos, in the underworld, all that kind of thing. There is a lot in this whole process where you have to be very sure about who is with you and who has the same vision and who doesn't, because there will be forces pushing against it. So that's just something to be aware of as you're showing how much of this you want to show and as you're kind of becoming more overt with people. Okay, so to finish off, we're just going to do something that's a little bit of fun. So this is like how people see you. Then we're talking about relationship energy in one form or another. So I thought I'd use the love oracles. This is one of a series of different oracles, all of which have people from history giving advice on various things. So in this case, love and relationships. And look, it's humorous more than anything. And I just wanted something light at the end of this because I think when we're going into what don't people see about you, it's pretty heavy stuff quite often. So just something light here. If it's just humorous, just have a laugh. If it seems profound, take something from it. So for you, we get, wow, Yoko Ono. Well, yeah, she was a bit of a futurist, wasn't she? She was an iconoclast, boy, and she was seen as bringing chaos into certain relationships to bring forward, whatever the new was. So there's some sort of, that's a kind of a similar sort of energy and how that can be perceived. And, where you might have hidden things going on and who to trust. She says, yes is always the answer. So moving towards the future, be positive. She says, love is performance art that takes place among the clouds. So, yeah, this is being up in the air. This is like seeing the bigger picture, the sort of spiritual side of things. And she says, love is not a dream. You can remember it if you want to. Oh, that's interesting. A futurist needs to remember the past and taking the heart through and the healing through and remembering the healing that happened in the chaos. So very, very profound, I think, actually. I hope that this resonates for you. I highly recommend you go and see Griselle's reading, because for anything like this, it's one thing what other people don't see in you. It's very important for you to know what you're not seeing in you. You marry those two things together and you would be very much a force to be reckoned with. So I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.